Hello everybody, Drifty here from Driftwood Gaming, and this is a special request RPG Maker MV tutorial for Squallstorm. He says, "Hey Drifty, got a request maybe you might be able to help with. I'm trying to get the element core to absorb damage and I can't seem to figure it out. I've been messing around with settings and I've searched the forums and such, but I get the same result of nullifying damage instead of absorbing it. If you could help, that'd be rockin'. If not, that's cool, I know you're busy." Now, Squallstorm, I recognize your name for a long time. You've been a long time viewer. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to answer your special request. It's not too hard, so let's make this quick. It's pretty easy. I imagine you already have the element core, but make sure you have the most recent version because Yanfly updates his plugins all the time. So once you have the element core, you want to make sure it's also in the right spot. So I have it right here, and I have most of Yanfly's plugins. I have it underneath the damage core with the two expansions of armor scaling and critical control, and it's above the extra enemy drops and the force advantage and the hit accuracy. So that's where I have it, and it seems to be working fine for me. So one thing you want to check is the multi-elements ruling. So I have it set to 1. I forgot what it's set to by default. It might be 1. I've tried a few different ones, and I like add the best. I think I started off with multiply, but then I got some crazy numbers that I just went back to add. So you can change this around to see how it'll affect the final numbers. In the help file is what you're going to be looking for to copy paste. You're going to go down to element absorb, and you can basically copy that and then paste that into the note tags of the enemy or weapon or armor or actor that you want to absorb. So I'm going to assume you want this to be on an enemy. So what I've done is created an enemy and added some note tags. Let's take a look at that enemy. So I made Sheba, and she's got an ice and a water attack. She's also absorbing cold and water damage. So I've got the note tag here, element absorb, space 3, 5 in brackets. So if I go over to my types, I can see that 3 is cold and 5 is water. Also, she attacks with physical, cold, and water, which is irrelevant to the element absorb, but I thought it would fit the theme. So the element rate is also going to determine how much is being absorbed, and how it works is you're going to subtract 200 from the element rate. So if it's kind of weird, but if you were to take the resistance element rate water times 50, this would normally make it so that Sheba would take half damage from water. But if you're allowing Sheba to absorb water, then doing 100 water damage would heal Sheba for 150. If this wasn't here, it would heal Sheba for 100. If we have element rate cold times 25%, then it would normally do 100 cold damage that the Sheba would absorb, but since she has an element rate of times 25%, she's going to gain 175 for every 100 points of cold damage. Hopefully that makes sense. We've made fire not absorbable, but times 200, that's going to do double damage of fire. Let's take a look at this in game and see if it works. Oh, one thing I need to show you really quickly. I've made some skills with no variance, and I've also made it so that they do a set number, a set amount of damage, and they're a specific damage type, so that there's no confusion. So here we have 100 fire damage. It's fire element. It does 100 damage, no critical, no variance. I've done the same for water and cold and ice. And then I've given those skills to the actor. So let's look at this in game and see if the numbers do what they're supposed to do. So right now, the elements and the variables that you choose at the beginning won't matter because they're not in the damage formula of the skills I made. The skills that we just made for this, it just does a set number. So let's equip those. There we go. and we'll get into a fight here. And we'll start off with 100 fire damage. Now remember, Sheba has fire times 200, so that's going to double the damage. So 100 times 2 is 200. So she takes 200 damage from fire every time. I also made her stats really weak so we don't die during the tutorial. So with water damage, she's got 50% resistance to water damage, but she also absorbs with the element absorb. So she gains 150 when you use that skill. Now ice, she takes 25% of normal ice damage, but she's absorbing it. So she gains 175. Since she's more resistant, she's going to gain more to that elemental that she would absorb. It makes sense that way, and I think it's programmed really well. I'm going to put a link in the description below where you can get this plugin and the most recent version at Yanfly's website. Hopefully this tutorial helps you. Anybody else who is curious on how it works, it's really simple with those note tags. Hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, give it a thumbs up. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. All that stuff is really appreciated. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to join the indie game dev community, you could always do so at driftwoodgaming.com. You don't have to, but if you want to be more involved with the community, feel free to do so. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next tutorial.